Hey guys, Havions45 here. Now, I talk about a lot of stuff on here, and I don't know how much y'all care about it or anything like that. But one thing that I've talked about recently was the me goal. Dreams. I was telling y'all to follow your dreams, and everyone has their own dream of what they want to be. And I told y'all that I wanted to be a I want to be a writer. I want to be a screenplay writer, writing for movies and stuff like that. And most of the time, when you hear somebody talk about, they like the best way for you to be able to do it, and the only thing that holds you back from being able to do a movie script is just finishing it. You know, doing your stuff, you get so uh confused and you get the writer's block because you're like, okay, how's the story gonna go next? Because you want to make sure that you keep it interesting, but you also, you're kind of in a way like when you're playing Pathfinder or playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're building a world. You know, when you play a video game, the creator is building a world for you that basically they're using stuff that you already know from other games. So button control and stuff like that. Like, you know what to expect when you playing a Pathfinder. Well, sorry, playing like Assassin's Creed, something like that. There's a thing that's like basically okay, because of the name of it, I know what I'm looking for in this game. And so you have whenever you're right, and the reason I'm coming up with this is because I was recently looking at to try and help me to be a better playwright. What I decided to do was I got the Screenwriter's Bible. I think it's the sixth edition. It's not the most recent one, but it's supposed to do a job. And I figured that, hey, to make sure that I'm doing my characters right, I'm going to start off from the very beginning of the book and read my way through to the end. And I'm getting pretty much the ideas of how the screenwriter Bible says it. You're supposed to do stuff, and the way I see it is, I did do all this stuff without even reading it. A lot of the stuff that it talks about in there, I've already built up in my story, and but I'm not going to talk about one of my stories that I've already created. But this was an idea that I had. Uh, I know, long intro isn't. Recently, and by recently I mean, a lot of y'all saw the Netflix live action of Death Note. I'm pretty sure if you been here, you heard me probably talk about Death Note on when it did live action, turning Light Yagami into Light Turner, and Misa Money becoming Mia uh, Thomas or Jefferson, something like that. Basically, they basically screw everybody up. So when it first happened, and I know I don't have rights, so I was sitting up here trying to figure out how could you fix it. You're like, I know the basically leaving everything that happened in the original movie how it was. How do you turn around the story from what happened in there? And I'm sure a lot of y'all have like, man, this story could have been a whole lot better if they would have did this, they would have did that. Well, you know, we talk about how the movie could have been better after we watched it. But let's say in my situation, I'm thinking, how would the story have been good? Not just after I watched it. I mean, not from the movie I saw, but if I decide to try and make a sequel of it. And that's what I did. Um, my story coming from Death Note, basically, when I was looking at it, and this is just a comment that I think that I figured would happen. I'm not trying to say that I have there's any plans of there being a live action version of it or anything like that. again because I think the first one kind of like bombed. But I figured that, hey, the best way to start off the second movie is to have Light's dad crying because Light is now dead. um I basically figured, hey, let's go ahead and lean into the curve of this situation and curve it some more. Because if, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, at the end of it, you have L has found the part of Death Note that Light had, well, that was in Mia's um I want to say geometry book, and he's trying to figure out, hey, what should I do with this? And no, he's not trying to figure out what he should do, but it leaves you with the idea of the possibility that L could try to use Death Note to get revenge on Light, which that's not his style per se. You know, the his style, I mean, by saying that's not L style from the anime's way of doing it. I don't know what the one in the movie would do, because the L in the anime wouldn't have tried to use a gun at Light either, but he did, in the live action TV show. So, I mean, not TV show, movie. Um, so I started off by saying that L goes to see Light's dead because we come and find out that Light is dead. And the story was on proceed on to basically kind of like a whodunit type thing. You run into several different characters where you believe that they have the Death Note, but you're not quite sure which one has it. There's a theory on some of them. Um, there was a there was a Karen. I think I had one. I was leaning towards what happened later on when Light actually did in the anime when he killed L and he gave the Death Note to a corporation and they started. I think that's when you get your second Kira, where or is it the third Kira? Yeah, you get your third Kira because corporations that are using the Death Note to is that political, well, not political, but financial gains for themselves so they can make a lot of money. You know, it was a lot of different ways I figured that it could kind of work, kind of like what the original did. And the last choice was that it went to a kid uh living in the projects. You know, you have this, so you have a Karen, a corporate entity, which means the whole group of them voted on it, and then you have this run the mill black kid. And each one of them was going to have, you would see Ryuk behind all of them, making it look like each one of them has a Death Note, but only one of them does. But the one who does is basically um keeping up with everybody else that he's trying to, and by saying he, I think I've already taken out that the Karen is the one doing the Death Notes. But yeah, the Karen wasn't going to be the one, but I hadn't figured out in the end which one I was going to be. It was either going to be the corporate entity or the ghetto guy. I actually also thought that a nice twist would have been to have Light be alive all along, and he was a lot more devious than the actual what Mia gave him credit for, since he had already, kind of killed her in the end of the movie. I was like, okay, so he, as the story would have kept going on, um, it would came to a situation where L would start trying to figure out who the new Kira is. And the problem with the new Kira is that the biggest problem that is with Death Note. There was I think it was a film theory that said that it would have been difficult for someone like Kira to be around. And really, it wouldn't, because there's a person called I Emma who has a who is an anime character called Hell Girl. Hell Girl, her whole thing was that you had to go to this specific website at midnight, and she would uh, allow you to put anyone's name that you feel have done you wrong, and she would come see you. Well, I figured somebody who was very tech savvy could create a system like that, and so people are just instead of the new Kira just killing everyone that he runs into, he's kind of, well, that he finds unworthy. He's basically doing like a list of people are sending in lists of people that they want taken care of. And so that's where the problem starts being done, where you have people sending him a list, and you come and find out that some people that Kira has been sending on list has been innocent. So this leads to L actually having to come to the point to where he's trying to narrow down which one it is that's doing the using the Death Note, and in the end he finds out which one is, and it's a question of, does he, as L, use the Death Note to kill that person, or does he find the Death Note so that he can keep power to himself? And then it'll be a greater temptation than what would happen in the first movie. Now, the idea probably could say, but it was a work in progress that I was working on. But I figured that, hey, it was worth talking about if y'all didn't mind listening to it. I hope y'all I hope y'all were interested in the idea. I'm not gonna say that y'all, you know, every idea that someone has is not a good idea, but at least it's good to just put out and see what people think about it. So if y'all think that it's so, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Or y'all can tell me by putting a dislike on it. If you liked it, put a like on it. Add to it. This is just like a storyboard thought of doing. Because let's face it, I could try to write this, but even if I did, I would have to get the people who actually own the Death Note live action version to actually take a look at this and then decide that, hey, that's a good idea, and then do it for themselves. And by doing it this way, I've just shown that, hey, you can't make no money off of it, because all I did was just put it onto YouTube and suddenly they use the idea. If they do, cool. If they don't, cool too. But I hope I catch you later. Well, I should catch you later because you like checking me out, and I hope you are checking out my friends who are doing the Twitch channels. Sweetbunnie, Ninja Tank 25, and Thisislowkey. Checking out some other people, and that I'm gonna see if I want to try and just give y'all, like, say y'all should check them out too. But we'll see when it happens. But I hope y'all enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you later.